Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of BlogChat. I'm Matt, and this is
Chris.
we're from National Parks at Night, and tonight we're going to talk about meteor showers. Meteor showers. Actually, meteor showers.
Yeah.
Why do I make that gesture? Because we're going to chase that magical radiant at some point tonight. We had a doozy of a week for publishing, and a lot of it is due to Chris. But we did something we haven't done before. We're publishing 3 blog posts in 1 week because we wanted everybody to get ready for tonight's peak of a meteor shower. So what's happening tonight, Chris?
Well, we've got a meteor shower with a new moon coinciding. So technically, the peak of the meteor shower, a meteor shower lasts like a month, but there's a peak in the middle where we've got the most meteors hitting the atmosphere, and that's at about 6 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. We've got a new moon too. New moon's tomorrow night, so we got pretty dark skies. So even not being right at the peak, it should be a pretty good shooting experience. And the really cool thing, the idea of doing these 3 blog posts and an e-guide to shooting meteor showers, which we'll talk about later, is that this has been on the radar for 2 years because back in 2017, we noticed that last year wasn't a great year for meteor showers, but this year we've got 3 meteor showers that coincide with the new moon. First one tomorrow. First one's right now, this week. And then we've in November, and then the big one, the Geminids in December. That's like, that's like this meteor shower on steroids. I mean, it's like 5 times as many meteors, maybe even 10 times. And it's a lot. I think it's 120 meteors an hour in the Geminids, and that's going to be during a new moon. And then we've also got the Perseids in August, which is not a new moon, but it's I want to say a 70% moon. I'm pretty sure it's a waning crescent, or no, it's a waning gibbous, or whatever it is. There's going to be like 3 or 4 hours of darkness. And so even though it's not a new moon, there's going to be plenty of meteor opportunities then too. So it's just a great year for shooting stars. And so we wanted to do this blog post, these 3 blog posts and the e-guide, and get this out right in time for the first one. And then we're just going to be hitting this all year, every time there's an opportunity to get out and shoot these things.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too.
Well, let's go back to basics. Why should we care about meteor showers? Meteors, can you predict them?
Well, yeah, by going out for a meteor shower, right? I mean, any other time, it's just, nobody's looking for a meteor when you're out at an average night shooting, right? I mean, You're just shooting, and maybe you get one, and you're like, oh, wow, a meteor shot through the sea. And then you got one frame of the meteor, and much more often than not, it kind of ruins the composition. Like, as cool as it is, you got this bright streak that's, comes through a random spot. It's like up in the corner, or it's facing away from your point of focus, it's like it hardly ever works for the composition, Right. So like as exciting it can be to get it, almost always I end up cloning it out because it just doesn't work for the shot. But if you go out and shoot during a meteor shower, now you've got an opportunity for getting a whole bunch of them. And if you can do, what we call radiant shots, so get the radiant of the meteor shower in the photo. And what we mean by that is every meteor shower, it looks like it's coming from the same place in the sky. And the way that astronomers identify it is they'll tie it to a constellation. So the Perseids, for example, look like they're coming out of Perseus. So if you can get that radiant in your shot and then stack the exposures, then you can make it look like all the meteors that you capture are kind of coming out of this center point. And that's a really dynamic photo to look for. And you can really only do that during a shower.
So I mean, we've written about this on and off, and I I've gone out and tried to capture a couple of meteor showers. And something changed from a few years ago when I first tried it until very recently. And you just wrote a blog post about that. And there was this missing ingredient that makes it so much more achievable. What is that?
PHOTOPILLS. I mean, every time you think that PHOTOPILLS has done the last cool thing they could come up with, there's something else. I remember you and I first heard about the new meteor shower feature back at PhotoPlus in October.
That was so exciting.
You remember this? Yeah. So we were, you and I were just sitting out in front of Starbucks. I don't know if we had taken a break from the show or what. We were sitting, and Raphael, the bar of the PHOTOPILLS, stops by, and we ended up spending like half the afternoon with him, just sitting there chatting. And one of the things that he told us about was the new meteor shower pill that they were going to introduce at the end of the fall. And he showed it to us. And like, I remember thinking when he said, "Oh, we got a meteor shower pill," I'm like, how's that going to work? It's way too complex to try to put into an app. And he's showing it to us. And it's like every new part of the feature that he showed us was like, whoa, that's really cool. Let's go out. It's even cooler. What? You mean you could use it with augmented reality too? Wow. I mean, everything he showed us just leveled up. And we were so excited about getting our hands on this and getting out there to use it. Yeah. It's a really cool feature. And there's a lot of data involved for, planning a meteor shower shoot. And PHOTOPILLS just takes all that data and puts it right in the palm of your hands. And it makes it as easy as, I never could have imagined it could be this easy to plan a meteor shower shoot. It's just great.
I wish I'd had it back in 2017.
I bet. So when you did the shot in 2017, now this is just for anybody watching, if you're not familiar, Matt did this amazing photo in 2017 during the Great Sand Dunes workshop. And you knew you had the meteor shower coming up. And so you did this during the workshop, and you led, whatever students were interested in doing it with you. And how many did you have? About a half dozen
students?
How many attendees actually stood there with you to do this photo?
100% of the attendees ascended the dunes with us.
Okay. And
100%. And I'd say 4 or 5 of them went to the very tallest dune. Okay. Most of us made it almost like 90% of the way there.
Okay. Yeah. 90% is pretty far on those dunes. It's not an easy walk.
No.
So how did you do this without PHOTOPILLS? Like, how did you, without the tool that we have now, how did you figure it out?
I used an astronomy app. I think it was Skywatcher Pro. And to find out where Perseus would be over time in the night. And with that rudimentary information, I call that rudimentary based on what we can do with PHOTOPILLS now. Yeah. I knew that it would be to the right of Polaris, and it wasn't going to go too far away. It was like around over here. Perseus was going to kind of be over there, like a little bit below and a little bit above. Mm-hmm. So I framed accordingly. Okay. And that's the best information I had. And I'd also shot it a couple of years before solo and sort of messed up the settings. The meteor shower, the Perseus in the same place.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I kind of messed it up then. I didn't know some other things like the MPF rule and other stuff like that. So I said sometimes I fail forward, Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds, it's more work. It was possible clearly because he did it. Yeah. And you know who, I hope she doesn't mind us mentioning, but one of the attendees, she's been on a few workshops with us, Heather Wendellow, does a lot of meteor shower shoots. And I just found out because she saw that we published this post and she messaged us that she actually hasn't used the PHOTOPILLS feature. So she's done all these meteor shower shoots. If you're not familiar with her work, you should definitely check it out. Like she does, she collects cars and she likes using the cars in astro landscape photos. And she does light painting and she'll do meteor showers over the cars. And it's a really, I really admire her focus on a concept. And she's got all these great meteor shower photos that she wasn't using PHOTOPILLS to plan. So, she was just doing it the same way that you were. So it can be done, but it's a lot of work. And if you want to check out Heather's photos, go to, where did she just get published? Who did the article on her? Is it
I have to go look that up. We'll post it in the live chat.
Amateur photographer?
Yeah, I think it was UK.
Yeah, it was the digital photography magazine out of the UK.
Yeah.
Go, if you're interested, go on our website, and under the galleries menu, there's an option for alumni spotlight, and it's all accomplishments of our workshop attendees, and it's right up toward the top there. Heather's, the article that they did on Heather, and you can see her meteor shower photos there that she did, like Matt did in 2017. Some really great work. So the point is, you didn't need the app to do it, but the app makes it a heck of a lot easier. I mean, a lot easier to plan these. Yeah,
for sure. You went into great detail in your blog post. Are there some highlights that you want to walk us through in that, or?
Well, let's see. So one thing we did in the blog post is, I wanted to be able to show a demo of how you would use PHOTOPILLS to plan a meteor shower shoot. But there was no good meteor shower between when the feature came out and when we wanted to publish this week. So what I did is PHOTOPILLS actually allows you to go back in time to look at the data from meteor showers all the way back to 2010. So I was able to go back to 2017 and pull up all the data and then produce the screenshots the way that you would have seen them then if you had it. If we just look at the information that we get, let's see, you can, so you go into the calendar and you choose the year. Normally you wouldn't be going back to 2017, right? 2020 is what we're focused on now, or maybe you're planning a trip for 2021 and you want to coincide with the meteor shower. But this is one of my favorite things that we're looking at right now. When you pick your year, it's going to give you all the meteors. There's 9 major meteor showers a year, and it lists all 9. And it's got this great data that comes with it, all summarized right here. This isn't everything you need to plan a shot, but it's going to tell you what meteor showers would be good. So we could see, the Perseids there. I loved. They've got the diagram of Perseus over on the left, so you know what constellation you're looking for in the sky. The really key thing is that little, bar graph. Like the, that's not your cell signal.
The power bar, yeah.
Right. So that's kind of taking all the factors for what how good a meteor shower can be, and combining them and telling you how good that's going to be for photography, because that's not just about the meteors per hour. So that's an important thing. So you could say that the Perseids there, 48.3 meteors per hour at its peak. But you're not going to see any meteors per hour if it's a full moon, right? Yeah. So you really want a new moon or a little bit of moonlight. I mean, I would love to shoot it under just a slight crescent moon, or do what you did where you had a couple of hours of darkness, and then as soon as the moon rose, you got your foreground shot and then just cut it off. But you do need some darkness. So that's why, we'll see. I mean, if you look at the Eta Aquarids up there, that's not a great meteor shower anyway. It's only 2.3 meteors per hour at the peak, but 94% moon, you're not going to see anything.
Nothing.
Right? But then you look down at the Geminids and 0.2% moon. That's a new moon, 100 meteors an hour at the peak. I mean, that's going to be insane.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So it's got all this data in that little power bar at the left. So if you want to plan a shoot, if you're going to say now, okay, I want to shoot a meteor shower this year, then go and look at that bar. If you don't know where you're going to go yet and when you're going to do it, just go look at those bars, those power bars, and then you can see what's going to be good to shoot. And then you can start planning from there.
Now you're looking at it on an iPad, right?
Yeah, most of the screenshots, all the screenshots in the post are from an iPad.
Gotcha. And it rejumbles for a phone size screen.
Yeah. And it's, there's a couple of screens where you have to scroll down to get the additional information. Whereas at the larger size tablet, if you're working on a tablet, you can get more of the information on one screen. So if this looks different than your phone, that's why. Just, if you're missing some information, just scroll down to get it. So if you go into this screen, so, in this case, we tapped on the Perseids, and it opens up this screen, which gives us a little bit more information about it. Most of the additional information on this screen don't really apply to photography. It's more just, your interest. Like down at the bottom, I think that's kind of cool. You find out where do these meteors originate from. They're from the comet Swift-Tuttle. That's where these, that's the debris field that Earth is passing through right now, or during the Perseids. But now you see this link up at the top. If you tap on the peak at your location, that's where we can really get our core information. So we tap on that, and that'll open up the info screen, which should be the next graphic down in the.
This guy.
Well, let's see. That's up at the top. That you could use that to change the date. Okay. So let's scroll down a little bit more, and. Okay, so this is an important point too. When you open up the Meteor Showers pill, in fact, a lot of the PHOTOPILLS features are going to default to where you are right now, or maybe where you were the last time you were using the app. So you want to go up to settings and tell it, no, I'm scouting Great Sand Dunes right now. Like I'm sitting. You're in Catskill. Are you in Catskill tonight?
Yes.
Okay, so you're in Catskill, I'm in Charlotte. If we opened up PHOTOPILLS right now, this isn't where we're shooting. We want to go to Great Sand Dunes. So we change that. We tell PHOTOPILLS we're shooting in Great Sand Dunes, and now it'll change the information. So that's all. So now if we scroll down, I think it'd be figure 8. Yes, so this is the key screen. Right here, you've got so much information that you can use to plan a meteor shower shoot. So you can see right up at the top, it gives you the current meteor rate, so 8 at whenever I did that screenshot, but it's also going to tell you when the peak is, and the peak is key, right? Not that you need to be shooting at that minute, but that's going to be around that time will be your best chance for getting the most meteors. But really, the whole night of the peak is going to be great, and even a few days before and after. It's not like all the meteors are waiting in a line up above the atmosphere waiting to come in, right? We're passing through a debris field. So it takes time. So you can shoot meteor showers before and after the peak. But, if you can, try to target the night of the most activity. Over on the right, we've got the sunrise and sunset. So we need that information, the moonrise, because if you don't have a new moon, you're going to want to know when that moon is coming up or when it's going down. Because you're going to need darkness to shoot the meteors themselves. So that's key information. And then also, if you want to get the Milky Way in it, that's what the next icon's for. So that's when the center of the galactic core is going to be at the horizon, rising or setting. So 9:37, that means that the core is coming up, the center of the core. So at that point, you see half of the galactic core coming off the horizon. If you're facing that direction. Now, in your case, you were facing north, so you do have Milky Way in your shot, but it's the tail, not the core of the Milky Way.
It was still pretty.
Oh yeah. No, if you're in a dark enough sky, then absolutely you can shoot any part of the Milky Way. So now beneath there, this graph is really interesting too. So there's a lot going on here. There's 2 curved lines. One is for the moon. That teal line is for the moon. And then the gray line is for the radiant. And you can see the times at the bottom. And what this is telling you is above every time, where that line is, the moon line and the radiant line, that's how high it's going to be above or below the horizon at that time. So that center line, that center horizontal line is the horizon. So you can see right where your cursor is now, like that vertical line is right. So that means that at that time, at 11 and change p.m., the moon was going to be right on the horizon, and the radiant was going to be a little bit above the horizon. It looks like, maybe about 20 degrees. Oh yeah, it says it down at the bottom, 21.7 degrees.
Good math.
So this graph is a really good visual representation of how good your meteors are going to be at that time. Because what you want, ideally, is to the left, when the moon is still below the horizon, but the radiant is above it. Right. So you can see now the radiant's getting higher, but this is the end of the good time for shooting the meteors because now the moon's coming up. So I would have actually wanted to shoot a little earlier, even though the radiant was lower and the meteors per hour were lower, because there was no moon. Now, I could read that on the graph, but there's a really quick way to read that on the graph is that, that light gray at the bottom, that's another bar chart down there. That's, again, it's taking all the data for everything that affects shooting meteors, from the meteors per hour to how high the radiant is to how much moonlight you have or when the sun is coming up and all that. It's going to take all that together and say, this is the best chance for you to shoot. And right there, that top of that gray bar, right there at about 11 o'clock, that's your key point. And so that big block of gray,
11:04 p.m.
So that big block of gray from about like 9:30 to 11, right there, that's the best time to shoot. And Matt, in 2017, what time were you shooting?
Exactly then.
Yeah. So if you look at part 2 of the blog post, which we published yesterday, that pulled it right out of his metadata. 9:30 to 11 is when he was shooting. Perfect.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think we did good. We did okay with the best data that we had at the time. I'll repeat. I wish I had this tool then. I would have had even more confidence. You know. It's extraordinary.
Yeah. Well, it's great that you know how to do it. You'll probably never do it that way again. But the fact that you were able to do it that way, you've got a deeper understanding of how everything in PHOTOPILLS is working. So you still have a leg up when you're doing this kind of a shoot. It's like the difference between driving a standard and an automatic, right? Like I don't remember the last time I drove a stick, but boy, am I glad I know how to, right? This is great. And it'll be even easier next time you do it.
I love it. I'm gonna scroll a little bit more in your post here. The things that you're talking about are explored in more detail here. There's some more graphs here, more illustrations in the blog posts that really help for people who want to come back and really lean into this and identify those items. And what we talked about here, what are the lines on there and what's this gray box underneath? And then, wait, you can use AR with this too?
Yeah, and that's this is big, right? And this is the thing when Rafa showed me that they integrated this with AR, it was like that. AR is just my favorite feature of PHOTOPILLS. I know Gabe loves the planner. I love AR because it will, whatever you're looking to shoot, whether it's the Milky Way or a moonrise or a meteor or radiant, it will project it, so I can use, so my iPad and PHOTOPILLS will use the camera on the iPad. And I can just hold it up to the scene and then it projects that sky map of everything that's going to happen or whatever I selected, whatever I'm researching in PHOTOPILLS at the time. And now I can see when I'm doing my daylight scouting exactly where everything's going to happen. And I can just, I can drag on the screen to change the time of day. And I see, as I drag, I'll see the sky map moving. And that's how I can see. So if we go back to that screenshot, that's how, if you had this in 2017, you would have seen the radiant right there coming up over the mountains. And that's exactly, that's your shot. That's it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. The AR is fantastic. And, we don't want to get into all the PHOTOPILLS features now, but you can see the Milky Way in there, right? So if you were planning a Milky Way photo, you could have done the exact same thing with trying to figure out where the Milky Way would be in the composition, where you want it, at what time is it going to be in that spot?
I have 2 comments I need to insert in here.
Yeah.
One is from Gabe. It may have been private, but I'm making it public. Gabe said he loves the AR as well because it's in the planner.
Okay.
And the other is a question from Marge. Do you need to calibrate AR every time you want to use it?
You don't have to calibrate it every time. You only have to calibrate it when it tells you it needs to be calibrated. It kind of knows. I'll tell you one thing. So you notice my iPad is not in its case. And the reason is this case has a magnetic latch. And that little magnet right there is enough to throw off the compass. So if I turn on PHOTOPILLS on my iPad in this case that it doesn't work right. And it throws it off enough so that PHOTOPILLS tells me I've got to calibrate. And it's the same thing with my phone. So I don't know if you could see. So my phone case, I have this magnetic plate on it, and this is how I mount my phone in my car, and that will throw off PHOTOPILLS too. So if I'm using my phone,
I was still sharing the screen.
I'm sorry. Worked. Okay,
I'm so bad. Sorry.
So that's okay. Did you see the iPad case?
How far I think they should see it.
Okay.
Show them the iPad case. Yeah.
So here's the iPad case, and you see that the clasp has a magnet.
Yeah.
And that magnet is enough to throw off PHOTOPILLS. So if I'm going to use PHOTOPILLS, I take it out of the case. And it's the same thing with my phone. I've got this magnetic plate on my phone for mounting it in the car. So if I'm going to use PHOTOPILLS in the field, I'll take the case off. And I actually have, it's around here in my office somewhere, I actually have two cases specifically for this reason. I've got one with the metal plate and one without it. And when I'm traveling, so if I'm going on a workshop or going on a scouting trip, any kind of a photography trip, I change cases specifically so I don't have the magnet on the back and it doesn't mess up PHOTOPILLS.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't know this about you, but it makes sense.
Better than having two phones.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I know people that have that too, and that's a complicated life.
But yeah, so if PHOTOPILLS tells you that you need to calibrate the compass, then calibrate the compass. And it's usually, I don't know how the iPhone does it, but with an Android, it's just a matter of moving it in a figure eight.
No.
Okay, so you do the visual calibration?
I have to sometimes because
me too.
In national parks, there's weird magnetic fields or a lack of certain kinds of connections that it wants, or maybe I didn't pre-download the whole map, or there's sometimes you just have to.
Yeah, I've seen that. I'm trying to remember this. I think if you're in an iron-rich area, which we are, like I think of the red sand dunes in Australia. I wonder if they would cause a problem because the reason they're red is because there's so much iron in the sand.
Ferrous.
I don't know. But I do know that. Yeah, you're right. I've been in places where just the compass just wasn't working. I won't use it in the car because the car's got a magnetic field, and I've seen that throw it off. But if you in any situation where you can't get the compass to calibrate, you can use the visual calibration. And it's right there at the bottom of the screen, the visual calibration. And then what PHOTOPILLS will ask you to do is to line up something in that sky chart with what you're actually seeing in the sky. And usually the easiest thing to do is the sun or the moon. So you could just drag it and say, nope, line up the moon in the display with the moon in the sky, and then boom, you're calibrated.
Good question, Marge. Thank you. You have one more bit of this blog post about armchair planning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So everything we've talked about so far is for scouting in the field, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's some scouting ahead of time, but a lot of this, field tools. I'm in the field, and how is this going to work tonight? You can also plan this ahead of time by using Gabe's planner mode, right? So the planner mode is sort of what we think of as like the traditional photography planning app back before PHOTOPILLS changed the landscape on this kind of tool. But it's a map, right? So you can have it as just a line drawing map or a satellite map, and this is where, PHOTOPILLS, depending on which layers you have on, like if you have on the sun layer, then it'll draw the lines for the sunrise and the sunset. Or the Milky Way layer will show you how the Milky Way is going to arc across the landscape. And where the north point and the south point is where they intersect with the horizon, and moonrise and moonset, which you can see here. So that line on the left is the moonset, and the line on the right is the moonrise. Those are the positions that they're pointing to the spot on the landscape where the moon's going to rise and set. In this case, I have only two layers turned on: the moon layer and the meteor shower layer. Right. So that gray, there's your meteor shower. So you can see exactly that gray line at that time. It says it would be at 10:04.
I think so, yeah.
That line is pointing on the spot at the horizon where the radiant's going to come up, right? And then you've got that curved gray line with all the dots on it.
Yes.
that's showing how the radiant's going to kind of arc up into the sky as the night goes on. So each dot represents another hour. So you can gives you a visual of where it's going to be at 2 a.m.
And each circle,
etc.
closer to the center is higher in the sky.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Right. So so this is if I was sitting in Charlotte and I knew I wanted to go to Great Sand Dunes and shoot the Perseids in August, I could use this to help me plan where I want to go shoot them, because I might see that spot and I might say, oh, geez, that angle's not going to work with the moonrise, and so okay, well, we try a different spot. So, oh yeah, the moonrise is going to be much better in this spot or wherever, so that's how I use that.
Well, that's kind of pertinent exactly right now. We're all at home.
Yeah.
Like armchair planning is a great idea right now.
Yeah.
So I saw that Ed wanted to know where we're going for the Geminids. That's an interesting question, Ed.
Yeah.
Let's plan it.
Let's plan it. With the planner. Yeah. I don't know. We don't have any workshops going on in December. But you and I were talking the other day about, gotta shoot something. It's right before Christmas. I imagine I'll be in Charlotte. But there's some, I wouldn't shoot them from Charlotte, but there's some places not too far from here, like the Blue Ridge Parkway is an hour and a half. I could be in the Smoky Mountains in 3 hours, or Congaree National Park in South Carolina is only a 90-minute drive for me. So yeah, I might go hit one of those spots.
I'd love to be in Cades Cove for that.
That would be a nice place to be. Of course, it's night. You'd have to walk in.
Done that.
Yes, you have.
Done that and alone.
Yeah.
Thinking of bears.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to be. Ed, where are you going to be?
Yeah, Ed, tell us in the live chat. Where do you think you're going to be? And it's okay if you say with us. So.
Hey, you're welcome. I love it.
Gabe's thinking of Acadia. So
it's gonna be cold, but yeah, that'd be
cold spot.
Be a good spot. Which direction are the Geminids facing? They're kind of high in the sky, right?
I bet you I can.
Yeah, I'm looking right now.
Bring it up.
Yeah, I know they're high. I'm pretty sure they're high, right? So I'm just trying to think where in Acadia would be a good spot to shoot.
Let's see. Let's go to meteor showers.
Yeah, they're 70 degrees up. They're 70 degrees elevation. That's really high. Wow. So it'd be hard to put the radiant in a photo. I wonder how it would be with the IRIX 11. It's that crazy wide. That's hard to compose with, but if you could make a composition with the 11, including the radiant and some foreground,
yeah,
you'll probably do something pretty wild at that. That IRIX 11 millimeter f4 would be fun.
That would be fun.
Is it to the east? Am I reading this right? So if it's to the east, I mean, the thing is in Acadia, you could shoot in any direction. So if it's to the east, you could shoot it on the coast. I might go down on the loop road, shoot it from Otter Cliffs. Would be nice, or to go out into Great Head, or maybe even Sand Beach. From Sand Beach, you can get a nice view of Great Head going out into the water with the meteors over it. And then the other spot that comes to mind, if you want to do a little bit of a walk, is to go up to Jordan Pond. And there's a trail that circumvents all of Jordan Pond, and you can go and shoot from the west side across the pond and get the meteors coming down that way. That could be a cool shot.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Well, we've got everybody jazzed about planning. I hope everybody opens up PHOTOPILLS and does a little bit of a sleuthing, a little bit of planning, saves some plans, shares some plans, chats with us without plans. What do you do with this information?
Matt, what do you do with this information?
Oh, I should be asking me that question. Oh, well, many of you who are attending right now have read the blog post. And Chris, I love the title, Great Balls of Fire.
Great Balls of Fire. So I don't know if you caught this. We did we did a similar thing around the eclipse a few years ago. We did a couple of different blog posts and then published an e-guide. And the title of that was Here Comes the Sun.
So we are musically inclined.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's genius. It's genius. I love it. I'm going to share the screen a little bit and talk my way down this. The setup was pretty fun. I think I've owned that this wasn't the first time that I've gone there.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back because it was a must shoot scenario. Like the first time I tried to do it, it wasn't as satisfactory as it could have been. I actually didn't even know about meteor shower radiant photography at that point.
This was in 2017?
No,
or the time before that?
The time before that was like 2015, 2014, something. I mean, it's somewhere in the fog of our blog. There's another blog post of how the shot I didn't get or something like that.
Right.
It's a funny story. So anyway, I made a vow with myself at that time that I was going to come back and I was going to help a group of people not make the same mistakes that I did and to nail that shot. So Lance and I brought a group of people to Great Sand Dunes and we set up and it was successful. So just to tell you guys how to set up for this, yes, you should do the PHOTOPILLS thing that we said. I prefer to check the weather too. Weather Underground's good. Tonight we've got some clouds for the lyrics, right? We'll catch that at the end. And then just the basics, like make sure you have a night photography friendly camera. So that would be something that's high ISO capable, DSLR mirrorless camera.
Not Fresh. My G2X?
No.
Okay, I'll leave that.
Please no. Well, you can make a nice time lapse with that.
Okay, good. Great daytime camera.
Great daytime camera. Absolutely. People take pictures in the daytime? I'm sorry. So fresh batteries or a big battery you can plug in that's external, a reliable tripod. Mm-hmm. Many of you have heard my tripod sermon. And then an intervalometer. I also have intervalometer sermons. So
and some cameras coming up about your new favorite.
Yes. I found a new deity. A new timed deity. So here it was. We decided to climb up the Great Sand Dunes, which is a slog, 600 plus feet of walking on basically sugar. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And then what we did was we took all that planning information that we had and made sure that we were facing north. And we knew the weather was going to be good-ish, but there was a lightning storm just off to the right as we were setting up. So all of us turned our cameras to the right and we were taking pictures of that lightning as we were waiting for true darkness to descend upon us. And that was fun, just being that close to lightning. Oh, of course, there were storms every day there. It's just a weird place.
That's not when you did that cool lightning shot, is it? With the lightning off in the distance under the big thunderheads?
Yeah.
That's from that? That's a great photo.
Lance got even better lightning shots that night. Oh, that's incredible. Yeah. I knew that the Perseids would look better in a vertical composition, and I only needed a little bit of land, but I definitely wanted I worked so hard to get up those freaking dunes that I wanted the dunes to be part of it. So I was very, very careful to make sure that I chose a part of the dunes that they could be lit somehow.
Okay.
And I did know, because I had PHOTOPILLS at the time, that the moon would be coming up to our right.
Okay. Right. So PHOTOPILLS gave you the moon information at that time. That's right.
Absolutely. And I was counting on that. I was like, okay, moon's coming up over here. The dunes are in front of me. They're still a little bit higher, so it's going to scrape across. So that's my plan for lighting. Because I didn't want to go down the dunes to come back up again, because it was such a pain in the butt to get up there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was being a little bit lazy, but hey, kudos for getting up there.
Matt, just quickly, just in case anybody's thinking, oh, the moon's going to rise to the east. You always know where that is, right? That's true. But the tricky thing could be, like, especially in that area where you're working with mountains, and you've got mountains that are 4,000 or 5,000 feet higher than where you're standing, is you don't know exactly when the moon's going to come over the mountains, right? Because that moon is coming up diagonally, and that's something that PHOTOPILLS can help you with, is to know when and where that moon's going to come over something that's blocking your horizon. So I imagine that was the case that night.
It was, and I was delighted to be where I was, but I was also disappointed to be where I was, because once the moon cleared those 12,000 foot mountains to the right of us, and we were only at 8,600 feet, it was a little bit flatter than I wanted it to be.
Oh, because it was high already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, sorry, it's a second daytime reference in the same BlogChat. It's why you don't shoot sunrise on the Pacific coast, because the mountains block. The mountains block the by the time the sun's up, the light's not the best quality anymore.
Yeah, it's just I did the best I could with it at the end, but it was much better than having it being pitch black.
Yeah. Oh, it was. I thought the light was beautiful. I mean, seeing the photo.
And it's funny. This is a topic we've talked about many times. I think this is the third time I've processed this image.
Yeah.
And it's certainly the best time I've processed the image.
Reprocessing. Yeah.
Reprocessing is.
Yeah. I think the big thing about reprocessing for me is, I mean, I've heard you talk about it before about, you're bringing more experience to it and all that. You might see it differently. I think for me, I always like is the tools that I didn't have available then, like dehaze and Lightroom.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like I can't come across a photo that I shot more than a year ago without wanting to see what dehaze would do to it now, and so, let me try that with dehaze. Yeah. It's
definitely, I don't think I pulled out actually I did range masks with gradients. I mean, that's something that probably didn't exist when I first did it. In fact, it didn't. So
yeah. You would probably before a range mask, you would do a gradient and then use the brush to adjust it, and it would be close. You could put a lot of work in and get it to look good enough, or you could bring it into Photoshop and do a more complex mask. The range mask, it makes it a lot easier. Not all the time. It's not 100%, but I'd say 4 out of 5 times.
I got to time out us here.
Yeah.
This is a topic that we're going to cover tomorrow.
Yeah, why not?
Tomorrow? Sometime soon? Sometime soon? So we have a third blog post coming out on this. Yeah.
On processing? Do we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't even shot it yet. Let's move forward on the shooting. We'll tell people when the processing is coming out.
Okay. So, shooting.
Okay. Back so we're still going to shoot it. So the broad strokes are, you've got to set up in a way that you understand where it's going to be, how long it's going to be there, when it's going to be dark, when it's going to be light, and how much of the sky you want to occupy. PHOTOPILLS helped us get to the point when you're on location. Make sure that you're covering that your plan works. There's that famous saying that no plan survives first contact with the enemy. It's a truism when you get in the field too. Like, you actually get to location, and like, let's say not everybody can make it up the dunes, so we just sort of hung out as high as we could climb, and like, there's cool shots from lots of places, right? So you adjust. It's night photography. So we set up, and I was instructing everybody on how to set up for this. You have to take a lot of pictures, and you have to not touch your camera. That's the most important thing to get through your head. Like, set it, forget it, walk away, take a nap, watch the meteor shower, make some coffee, whatever, go jog down the dunes and go back up. What you want to do is not touch your camera or not be near your camera, because sand shifts under tripods. Yeah.
Same thing if you're shooting in the snow or, on the beach, where wave might come in and unsettle your tripod.
You're talking about Olympic again, aren't you?
Why are you laughing, Matt?
Stuff.
Yeah, any place, if I was on really thick grass, like maybe shooting in a pasture, where any place where your camera's not, where the tripod's not really on firm ground, don't even walk near the tripod.
Yeah. And when you're on a mountain of sand, doubly so. We had a group of people with their tripods and sitting near them and everything. So I'm sure we did the best we could, but in the end, nobody wanted to. We were playing King of the Hill with the top of a dune. So so you set up, and you need to do all of the bread and butter stuff, as I wrote in the blog post for for night photography, you got to focus. You got to nail the focus,
Mm-hmm.
star focus, right? You got to compose, make your high ISO test, and then check everything at 100%, like 5 times. I'm not joking. Because if you're going to sit into 2 to 3 hours of exposures, make sure it's sharp.
Right.
Make sure it's raw. Choose your color balance. We talk about color balance a lot on our blog and on the workshops. I set 3800 because that makes, typically, it makes the Milky Way look neutral and those delicate reds pop out. And then lock everything down on the tripod, put in a fresh battery, and then you have to pick your shutter speed. And this is where it really, I did some math for people. We now have the MPF rule, which is also a feature. It's brought into PHOTOPILLS. The MPF rule means you just want to choose a shutter speed that's short enough to make the stars not look like mini smudges. And there's 2 settings. There's default and accurate. You might be tempted because you're putting so much effort into this to choose the accurate setting, which is much shorter than the default setting. Let's say 18 seconds is default and 9 seconds is accurate. The problem is there's 1 second in between each frame. So 9 plus 1. So that's 10% of the time your camera is closed. You might miss
where's that 1 second coming from?
The interval between. That's from the intervalometer, which can't do anything shorter than 1 second. Why? Stuff, things. I could get into that, but this is a limited time broadcast. So yeah, so 9 seconds and 1 second, that's 10% chance. And if you do 18 seconds, which was my other choice, if you did that instead, it's only a 5% chance that you're going to miss a meteor. I'll take those chances. And I'll have slightly blurrier stars, but it's not a big deal.
Right.
I'm still shooting NPF and not 400 roll. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I oh my gosh, I shot like, I don't know, minute long shots the first time I went there. Make my camera focus. Okay. So yeah, you have to pick that, and you're gonna lean in. You're gonna make sure that you choose the right ISO to expose for the sky. You can ignore the foreground because you're either gonna paint that separately or let the moon take care of it. And then you're gonna shoot to the aperture that your lens can handle, and that's going to be something that is, I don't know, make sure it doesn't have terrible chroma, because you're going to be stacking up some stuff. You're going to be stacking up a lot of images. So you don't want to have that. And then you're going to program your intervalometer and go. Yeah, at this point, I'm really particular to say, it's one of those moments in life where you work really hard on the technical things and being prepared. And it's one of these times where you just need to put everything back in your pockets, sit down and enjoy what's in front of you that nature delivered. Because you've did the best you could to prepare for it. Now lay back and enjoy the show.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. One of my favorite things about night photography.
Me too.
Is the opportunity, those long exposures, to just lay back on a rock or the sand or something and enjoy being in a place like that at night.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's my little moment of zen.
Yeah.
And now we're back to being hurry.
Your hour and a half moment of zen.
Hour and a half moment of zen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's at some point. Now here's what happened. We're all running these sequences, and I'm walking around urging everybody who's there to just like hold, like William Wallace, hold, because they saw the moon coming up and brightening up the sky, and they couldn't see the meteors anymore. And I was like, just wait for it. Wait for the moon to come over the mountains. Just wait for it. And then adjust your exposures and take that last shot and then touch your camera, but not before. Mm-hmm. And you can see what happened in my picture. Know that before you touch your camera that you got to take care of your foreground too, whether it's light painting, low level landscape lighting, or moonlight, or a car driving by. Make sure that you take care of that. And then you're going to end up with a lot of files, you know.
How many did you have?
Over 325, I think.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And what camera were you shooting? The 750?
D750 at the time. Yeah.
Okay. I was just thinking, wow, imagine if you shot the 850.
Nope.
325 files with 850.
No.
That's some processing time.
No. Well, I'm just thinking about Lightroom. I mean, we'll talk about that next time. But like, just the chugga trying to find the meteors alone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So everybody who's here, we'll put a link. There's we made a time lapse video of what it looks like to see all these frames go by. You might see some of the meteors and the planes and the satellites and all that in there. And you see the final image in there also. The last thing was just a little bit of details about taking that last picture. I dropped the ISO down. I would have gone to ISO 100 and taken the highest quality image I could. However, the moon was moving so quickly, like we were talking about, the moon was moving so quickly that I couldn't, in good conscience, say I'll take a 5-minute picture, because the moon was going up like this and coming around and making the dunes so flat that it wasn't something that was enjoyable.
Okay.
So what I did was I just took, I don't know, like a 200-second picture at ISO 2000, which is not optimal, but it was way better than 6400. So I'm sorry your camera is having trouble focusing.
It's not focusing.
Can I switch views? There we go. So yeah. So it's just going to be me for the rest of the broadcast until Chris can actually focus his camera.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
So
I can get it to focus on my hand.
It's crazy. So, technology, man. I prefer manual focus lenses. So here, in the end, we were able to do something that is not a finished picture, and that is the ellipsis in this conversation. What we wanted to do is get you guys to the point where you could say, yes, I can know where to be and what time and how well I can expect the results to be and how to set up and take the picture. So take a bunch of pictures knowing that you're scheduling yourself for probably 4 to 8 hours of work after this to make this radiant image, which I'll put up again on screen real quick so you guys can see it. Yeah, so this radiant image is the result of spending about 4 hours in post-processing, identifying meteors, selecting them, adjusting the sky and the ground, and then making sure the meteors were all in the right orientation. And that's a process, and we'll get you guys through that too. In the meantime, I think we're just going to go see if there's any other questions.
Yeah. And I'm feeling focused now.
You are. I can see it. You look bright and crisp and clear.
Yeah.
Even bubbly.
Bubbly?
Yeah. So we have a meteor shower going on. This is why we published. There's a meteor shower going on right now, isn't there?
As we speak. I mean, it's dark here on the East Coast.
How's the weather, folks?
Here it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, this actually would be a good night for me to go shoot. But I'm not. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit.
You could ditch work. It's okay.
Yeah, so I'm just calling up, let's see, calling up the meteor showers on my iPad now.
Oh,
yeah.
Anyone else going to try tonight this week? I might walk outside after this, folks. I see some questions inside of the live chat here on YouTube. It's possible that I could walk outside, and since it's to the east tonight, look out over the Hudson River here in Catskill towards Alana, and maybe capture some meteor showers. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to capture them if you don't shoot them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Hey, you know what's something I meant to mention before? Yeah, we were talking about, you and I, one of the things we like to do in night photography is to set up for that long exposure like you might do tonight, and then just enjoy the time out there. There's another option too. If you have 2 cameras and 2 tripods, and I know not a lot of people do, but if you do, you can go somewhere else and shoot something different while you're letting that first camera roll.
Right.
If you don't want to sit there 2, 3, 4 hours waiting for it. And it's also a good way to avoid bumping your tripod or something.
Yes.
Just to stay away.
Yeah.
Go do something else. Go do something that's light painting, or go shoot some star circles or something with that second setup.
I agree with that. I know there's one more burning question that everybody has on their mind.
Yeah, what's that?
If tonight's the peak and it's not optimal conditions where they live,
Mm-hmm.
is there can they keep shooting throughout the week?
No, you don't.
All right. This is over. We're done. Bye. Good night.
No, this is it's the peak, but it's not the only, right? So the very best time, I mean, it's going to peak at about 6 in the morning Eastern time, which is really getting, let me get my my data back up again. The best time to shoot, according to PHOTOPILLS, the very best time of this whole meteor shower is going to be at about 5 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow morning. That's the peak, but it's not the only meteors that are coming. So you're going to have at that time about 20 visible meteors per hour. Tomorrow, a bonus you have is tomorrow is a new moon, right? So this is just no moonlight tomorrow. Even though we're past peak, you could shoot a little longer. Now, there's not going to be as many meteors, but according to PHOTOPILLS, there's going to be 14 per hour, and that's going to be at 5 in the morning. So that's the best. But you don't need to be. I mean, I'm backing up, but I'm seeing at 2:30, there's 10 meteors an hour. Matt.
Yeah.
That amazing photo that you just showed.
Uh-huh.
How many meteors per hour did you have?
Like felt like half a meteor per hour. No, it was like, I think it was 20.
That was the official, but what you could actually see was 7 per hour that night. So that great photo that you did in an hour and a half had half the yield that you could get at the peak tomorrow night. So even though we're past peak, you could still do a good photo, even though we're past the peak of the meteor shower, because there's still going to be meteors out there.
Now, is it different between locations, like Charlotte and Catskill?
The time, it was a little different. Yeah. I forget how, we weren't too far off, our latitudes are different.
I could share my screen. I'm gonna pull that up. It looks like this is tonight. I'm sharing PHOTOPILLS here. It looks like tonight, right now, I'm seeing 9.6 meters per hour. But as we go towards 2 p.m., 2:19 p.m., get up to 18. And that's tonight.
All right. Yeah, so it is a little different for me.
I go tomorrow night, it gets up to 13 at 2 a.m.
Okay. Yeah, so that we're at different latitudes, at different longitudes. There's a lot of science that goes into these numbers. And
right.
I don't pretend to understand
how
all this data is working in the background, which is exactly why PHOTOPILLS is so valuable.
Thank you, Raphael and team.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
We love you.
So we've talked about scouting. We've talked about using PHOTOPILLS to scout your meteor shower shoot. And we've talked about shooting.
Right.
We're going to tell them what's coming tomorrow.
The drum roll, please.
That should be obvious, right? The processing. So tomorrow's blog post, Matt's going to be showing how to take that hour and a half worth of images and put them together in Lightroom and Photoshop to create that final photo that you just saw. And then the other thing, we're gonna tease the other thing, right? Okay.
Show us your screen.
We're gonna take all 3 of those blog posts and we are putting them together into this free PDF e-guide, Great Balls of Fire, a guide to photographing meteor showers. And this is going to have all the information from the 3 blog posts, plus it's going to have 11 pages of gear recommendations for doing this kind of shoot. And there's also going to be a great piece that Lance wrote on his top 10 dream locations throughout the world to photograph a meteor shower.
Dude.
So this is going to all be in this e-guide that we're going to put out. And again, we're doing that in 2020 specifically because we've got these 4 great opportunities to get out there and shoot meteor showers this year.
So awesome. Awesome. Go team.
Go team.
Wow. And Chris.
I'm part of the team. Go team.
You are.
Go team. That's it.
Thanks,
that's all we, man.
That's all we.
Succeed and fail as a team.
That's right.
It's all we.
That's right.
Okay.
And Pan Strong. All right. Well, it looks like everybody here is not only satisfied with the information we provided, but there's no additional questions.
Okay. Well, if you do have questions, you can always send them to us. Send us an email. We've got this this 5 questions blog post that we do every 2 or 3 months. And we love getting questions. I mean, you guys ask stuff that we don't think to write about or whatever. We love getting that. And then we can give you feedback. And it also, my theory is if one person has a question, if one person asks a question, there were 100 others who had the same question who didn't want to ask it. So we put that in the 5 question blog post, and you're actually helping other people get an answer to something that maybe they were afraid to ask, or they didn't, get around to asking, or maybe they didn't even realize they had the question yet. So please send us those questions. Helps everybody. It's a win-win-win.
Yep. I posted the email in the live chat. I'll also put it in the comments on this video. It's adventure@nationalparksatnight.com. Also, you can also leave it in the live chat right now, or when this is over and this is a rebroadcast, leave it in the comments below. And for all of you watching this after it was live, or even now, if you guys could hit that like button, subscribe, it'd be fantastic. And even hit the little bell to make sure you get notifications every time we go live, which is right now twice a week. So we appreciate every single one of them. Thank you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Any final words, Chris?
Nah, just thanks for coming, and seize the night.
Seize the night. You guys are fantastic. Have a great night.
Good night.